Change your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Oh, good. Okay. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art podcast. That podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a veteran story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. Don't forget, there's a couple ways you can help support us in our mission of getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. You can go to our website. There's a one-time donation link. You can go do that. You can become a patron with a monthly donation. You can go and just purchase some cool gear. Or if you have a business or a book or something like that, you can advertise right here on the podcast. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. Go check them out. Go help them out in their mission. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, we are back. I have live with me. This is Lieutenant Dan. This is the other Lieutenant Dan, apparently. But Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous.
Oh man, I'm excited to have you here. I can't wait to hear your story. So it should be a good time.
It's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I guess let's start at the beginning for you.
Okay.
So where did you grow up, and what kind of drew you into military service?
Born and raised in Gary, Indiana. Wonderful big family. Went to Purdue University. Military background in my family. My grandfather was gassed in France. My father was in the 82nd Airborne at the end of World War II. Had an uncle that landed on Omaha Beach, the first wave. A lot of military in the family. Always been military oriented and
That's awesome.
Playing Army as a kid and everything else. Graduated from Purdue University and then went to officer candidate school to become a Marine officer.
Oh, very nice. Okay, so Purdue. Now, I was when I was growing up, I went to college at Oklahoma State, and we played Purdue in one of the, I can't remember which bowl game it was, but we played Purdue. They kicked our butts, in case you're wondering.
Drew Brees, quarterback?
Oh, no, I don't think so. It wasn't then. I can't remember who it was, but they did. They kicked our butt.
Big Ten football.
Yeah.
Can't wait for it to start again.
Oh, it's coming up soon.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Well, so once you decided to join, right, you're going to go become an officer. You're going to the candidate school. So let's talk a little bit about that. What was that experience like for you?
OCS in Quantico, Virginia. Started on January 4th, doing push-ups in the snow. Yeah. No sand fleas, no run up the hill in California, but push-ups in the snow right by the side of the river. Definitely different experience. OCS is different from boot camp.
Yeah.
OCS, they want to get the finest officers they can, so their ideal is to drum out the ones that aren't going to make it.
Makes sense.
In boot camp, if you sprain an ankle or something, they'll keep you back. They'll try to work it. They'll try to make it work for you.
Right.
But in OCS, if you're not up to snuff, they want you to drop out. Yeah. So about half of the class did by the time I graduated in March of '74.
March of '74. Wow. And you said half the class.
That was pretty normal in them days.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think it's like that anymore. I don't think it's
probably not.
Yeah. Wow. What were most of the drops for injury?
No. Just couldn't hack it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Physical, mental, emotional. They drove us pretty hard.
Yeah. What was the toughest part for you?
There was an obstacle course where we had to crawl through, I guess it was about 18-inch pipe, maybe a little bit bigger, 24-inch concrete pipe.
Yeah.
And it went down, and there was a foot and a half of water in the bottom.
Oh,
and then it got back up again in total darkness. There's a guy in front of you and a guy behind you pushing you. Come on, let's go. And the guys in front of me weren't moving. So there we were sitting in that concrete thing in the water in the darkness. That was the hardest part for me, but we made it through.
Yeah. That would be pretty bad. I'm a little claustrophobic when it comes to stuff like that, especially if there's water involved.
Yeah.
Wow.
They called me John Wayne. They thought I was so gung-ho all the time.
I love it. You're
Good
pretty
memories.
gung-ho now.
Good memories. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, okay. So after schooling there, where exactly did you go?
Basic school in Quantico,
Okay.
6 months training for Marine officers. And then I requested and got 3rd Mar Div in Okinawa, and went over there in January of 75.
Okay.
I'm sorry, in December of 74.
Okay. And what
I
was
was
your...
an infantry platoon commander
Okay.
for Golf 29, 9th Marines, Camp
Nice.
Schwab.
Now, did you have to do, did they have infantry training or officers?
No, we had all that at basic school. But
Okay.
in Okinawa, we had the company was training and the platoons were training.
Got it. Okay. So you're in Okinawa. You're doing some training there with your Marines. Like what was your day to day? How was that for you?
Infantry platoon commander, boot, 2nd lieutenant, didn't know what day it was. had a good staff sergeant. He took care of me, but we were training to become the next mount out battalion. There's always a battalion afloat in the Med in the Westpac, and you have to go through a certain cycle, have so much training, so many things qualified, et cetera. And then we were in the middle of that training when the shit hit the fan.
Okay. Well, tell us about that.
All right. Well, in April of 75,
Mm-hmm.
the American embassy in Saigon was evacuated. They
Right.
pulled the flag, and the embassy was everything was gone, and there were no American troops left in South Vietnam. 2 weeks later, the Cambodian Khmer Rouge rogue elements of Cambodia captured the U.S. merchant ship, the SS Mayaguez, container cargo ship, nothing military related, civilian crew, etc. But the Cambodians captured using U.S. captured gunboats. And
No kidding.
they took the ship to a little island off the coast of Cambodia, right at the South Vietnamese Cambodian border.
Right.
27 miles out to sea is a little island called Koh Tang that
Coaching.
no one had ever heard of before.
Mhm.
They had the ship, the Mayaguez, anchored there, and they took the crew. The crew was taken off the ship, and President Ford was extremely concerned that we would have another Pueblo type incident if they took the crew into Phnom Penh, into the mainland, would have a hell of a time getting them back. So in a very hastily thrown together operation plan with almost no intelligence, they decided we're going to send Marines and get them back. Well, the problem was that the only Marines left in Southeast Asia are the 9th Marines training on Okinawa.
Yeah.
And as I said, we were in the beginning of our training cycle. We weren't qualified yet to go out and do the med float,
Oh, wow.
but they decided we were good enough to go into combat. So the word went out, and everybody came back in out of the field in muddy utilities and central the training area, the jungles. We were doing training up there.
Right.
We went into back to the barracks, and they said, pack up all your stuff. So they put all their uniforms and everything else in sea bags, like we were going to be gone, threw us on trucks, and drove us to Kadena Air Base, where we were immediately flown to Utapao Air Base in Thailand.
Huh. Okay.
Which was the only place they could mount the assault from. They couldn't make the assault from Okinawa. They couldn't make the assault from Vietnam. And Thailand was very upset after they did it, but there was no option.
Right.
The issue was that the only helicopters available to take the Marines in to get on this little island were HH-53s and CH-53s that were left. One of them was a search and rescue helicopter squadron in Phnom Penh, whose primary mission was to collect the Gemini space capsules.
Oh,
they had
wow.
the divers and the pilots, and that was what they trained for, aerospace recovery. And there was another Marine, no, it wasn't Marine, another Air Force 53 group. It was just the 53s that were there. And of course, they had never trained with Marines,
Right.
never had any amphibious operations, never did anything like that at all. But they were the only helicopters to get us to this little island. So we had zero intelligence.
Oh my gosh.
The word was from CIA, which had no information. FBI had no information. They didn't even have maps of the island.
Right.
About a 5-mile long island. And the enemy on the island was supposedly 15 to 20 fishermen / pirates that might have automatic weapons. Well, everybody's got an AK-47.
Right.
But they said, no sweat, no problem. But we loaded up with Utapau and loaded up for bear. I mean, we were carrying ammo like you wouldn't believe, and they were handing out hand grenades like it was candy. And if you've been in any other Marine training, you know that is very serious stuff. Whenever here, take 2 hand grenades, and they just kept going down the line.
Wow.
So we knew we were going into something serious. I was to be on the second helicopter in on the first wave.
Okay.
With the platoon I was with. It was a grandiose plan. There were at that point 9 helicopters available.
Okay.
So they loaded up our rifle company, golf company,
Right.
with its 3 platoons. And there was a command element with the battalion commander of the S3, the Navy doctor, and 2 tubes of 81 mortars, which was our only automatic, our only heavy weapons. And then that was it. The plan was to land 2 helicopters on the west beach of the island. The island was such a jungle terrain, there was no place to land a helicopter, so we actually had to land on the sandy beaches when the tide was out. And we had to do that at dawn. And there were 2 helicopters on the west side of the island, and the other 7 helicopters were supposed to land on the east side of the island, unload their troops, fan out, sweep through the island, rescue the crew, and everything was going to be wonderful.
I mean, that's a good plan.
However, instead of a few pirates and fishermen, the island was in dispute between Vietnam and Cambodia because oil presumably had been discovered. So Cambodia and Vietnam had been at war with each other for years. And the Cambodians had actually reinforced the island with a battalion of Khmer Rouge Marines who actually had been fighting for years, heavy combat experience. And there was like 300 of the enemy on the island. Right. And we're going in with the rifle company reinforced.
So we're talking, what, maybe 50 Marines?
Oh, no.
A company. Okay, so you're at maybe 150.
With the attached comm people and medics and everything else. That was about right. And then, so the intelligence was just horrible. We went in of the first wave, 4 of the helicopters were shot down. 1 helicopter was shot down on the east beach, had the tail end blown off with an RPG rocket launcher. Okay. He crashed the helicopter on the beach, and the crew and the Marines, 20 Marines and 5 Air Force crew, several of whom are wounded now, were able to charge onto the beach and just hide themselves in some rocks. I'll get back to that later. Okay. Second helicopter, Knife 31, exploded, crashed in about 6 feet of water. There were 13 KIAs. And then the other 13 of the crew, some Air Force and some Marines, swam out into the ocean because the fire coming from the island was so heavy, they couldn't go anywhere with it. And they were picked up by the crew of, there were 2 warships there, the Harold E. Holt destroyer escort and the Henry G. Wilson DDG-7. And it was a crew from the Holt that picked them up. And their skin is coming off and they're burnt, and it was a bad situation for them. So there's 13 KIAs right away. Wow. On the other side of the island, the first chopper in offloaded their crew, another lieutenant friend of mine who got a Navy Cross, and his 20 Marines. The helicopter takes off and immediately crashes in the water. It had so much damage.
Whoa. But he let everybody off before
Yes.
he took off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the other helicopter came back and was trying to pick up the crew. They were able to get 3 of the 4, and one perished that way also.
Okay.
And then the second helicopter in was supposed to be the company commander.
Mm-hmm.
That helicopter was shot up so bad they couldn't land. They tried 3 or 4 times, and they had just heavy enemy fire. They went and couldn't land, so they finally took damage, and they limped back to Thailand, which is about 2 hours away, and Utapao was 2 hours away, and they were able to crash land the helicopter on the beach.
Wow.
And then they came and picked those guys up later. But of the first 4 helicopters, 4 are shot down. 4 out of 4.
Wow. That's pretty bad odds coming in. 4 out of 4 is down.
I'm just starting.
Oh my gosh, it gets even more.
Yes. Interesting thing about that helicopter that landed in Thailand. When they left it, the company gunny took his M16 and shot up, for lack of a better words, I'm not an Air Force guy.
Yeah.
The instrument panel, shot it up with his M16, so they couldn't use it again. But they went back. They big cranes, whatever, on other helicopters, they took the helicopter back.
Wow.
That helicopter subsequently flew in Afghanistan and Iraq, and it's now a museum piece in Herbert Field in Florida.
No kidding.
The exact same helicopter. Yes.
In Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, lots of experience and lots of bullet holes in the with the little patches. It's interesting. We had one reunion there, and we all stood by it. Big helicopters, the 53. You can fit 20, 25 guys in one. All right, so I'm on the next helicopter coming in on West Beach, and we don't know what the hell's going on. We don't know what we're doing. I was in school just a few months ago.
Right.
So we landed on the second one off the helicopter. The guy in front of me immediately gets shot, hit it in the arm real bad. And we got a corpsman covering him, but we're taking tremendous fire. We're in elephant grass. You can't see anything, and you don't know where the fire's coming from, but we were taking a lot of fire.
Yeah.
Got everybody offloaded and put them in a defensive perimeter.
Yeah.
And then we also matched up with the first 20 that had been there on the first helicopter that had been offloaded a half hour earlier. And then that helicopter took off going back to Thailand, but he was so shot up with damage that he couldn't fly again that day.
Oh, wow.
So
but he didn't make it back.
He did make it back to Utapao and Thailand. And that's part of the problem. We started off with 9 helicopters. We're going to have all these Marines on this island have to get off the island.
Yeah.
And when the air assets for the United States Air Force were getting shot up pretty bad. So I landed and we set up a perimeter. We matched up with the other platoon, set up machine guns, and we got a little bit of a perimeter. We got the Gulf of Thailand to our back.
Yeah.
And heavy, dense jungle, and the enemy to our front. We're in a little bit of a horseshoe-shaped perimeter, and just taking fire and trying to figure out what's going on. The only other officer with us happened to be the company XO. Dick Keith got a Silver Star, and he was on the radios all day long. The problem being, because our company commander went back to Thailand. The problem being with the command and control and the radios, it's the first time that the White House situation, whatever, with satellites and everything else, could actually be involved in what the operations were.
Oh,
and
wow.
Poor Dick Keith was on this radio all morning. I remember one time going up to me, he's talking on one phone and telling this other guy to hold on, and there's a corporal with another radio that says, "This colonel wants to talk to you now." And
I love it.
We had F-4s off the Coral Sea, which was steaming our way, and trying to do airstrikes on this tiny little island, and we're spread out all over the place. Command and control was extremely difficult, and radio communications. All the problems we had were subsequently used later for lessons learned for future engagements, but it was very messed up. The next helicopter that came in, they decided they couldn't land on the east side of the island because of the heavy machine guns they had over there, and the other helicopters decided to shift to try to land on the West Beach where my platoon was. And the next helicopter had the battalion commander, The S3 radio, all their radio operators, the 2 tubes 81 mm motors, and the company doctor and 4 or 5 foremen with him, all their equipment. They tried to land, couldn't land, tried to land, couldn't land, taking fire. So they finally landed the helicopter. It was about 1,200 yards down the beach. They found a little place and they put them in. Problem being, with just that command element, they were supposed to be one of 7 helicopters that were going down by themselves. They only had 3 M16s among them.
Oh my gosh.
And it's hard, everybody's got a 45, and it's hard to fire and maneuver when you only have three riflemen and 2 81 millimeter.
And they're having to carry all that.
Right. Yeah. So that was part of the problem. So by 9 o'clock that morning, we had Marines in 3 places. We had the 25 Marines on East Beach that had been held down. The Khmer Rouge were so experienced, they just let them sit there. Could easily have overrun them, but they let them sit there and used them as bait. And all the helicopters coming to try and get them out of there all day, they shot them up big time.
Oh wow!
At least put two others out of action. But they're sitting there isolated on the east side of the island, and about 500 yards west of them on West Beach, we've got about 80 effective Marines now. We had another helicopter come in at 9:30, several of whom were wounded, but we've got a pretty good defensive perimeter, but we're not going anywhere.
Now, and you said, so we're talking 0930 in the morning. Okay.
Yeah. And then we had the command element about 1,500 yards south, who's slowly trying to move their way to our position.
Right.
Several things going on, several things happening, taking care of wounded, resupplying ammo, 100 plus degrees. Everybody only had 2 canteens, so we ran out of water fast. But we actually landed on top of the Khmer Rouge headquarters. It was just a log cut hooch, but we had a ton of their captured ammunition. We had M79 grenade launcher.
Wow!
In big clear plastic bags. There must have been 150 rounds in this one bag. So we had 2 guys with blue guns, and I passed the ammo on. I said, just keep firing into the woods. You're not going to run out of ammo. But we utilized the M79s that way. That was pretty neat. The other thing was just trying to keep everybody and everything going together. The XOs tied up on the radios. I'm the only one moving around, and the other second lieutenant, I mentioned his name, McMiniman. He got the Navy Cross for actions he took originally when they initially landed. But he got wounded and he shot up in the leg. So command and control, it was pretty messed up. We had no air support. Like I say, we had F4s off the Coral Sea, but we were so close together that we couldn't even get. So I'm talking with the XO, and we got to get the command element back to us. I said, all right, so I'll take a squad out and we'll go see if we can link up. So I started grabbing guys. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I said, you come with me, you come with me. Company first sergeant was a rifleman under me. He said, fine, let's go, I'm with you. And then I had a radio operator and 8, 10 other, we had 11 of us in composite assault squad.
Okay.
So we tried going through the jungle. It was so thick and heavy, you couldn't even hack your way through it. And if you were hacking your way through it, they would. So we had to go down to the beach and walk along the shoreline, which wasn't much of a shoreline, rocks and
like coral type of rocks and things like that.
And jungle and I don't know what kind of trees they were with all the big roots and everything. So we're moving slowly up along the beach. And
they're kind of like mangroves or something.
Yeah, exactly. So we're heading south trying to get to the command element. We're talking to them on the radio, and the 81 mortars are firing ahead to clear the way from them. We're about 700-800 yards between us. And all of a sudden his mortars are landing on us.
Oh.
And I got him on the radio, and I used words my grandmother would not have appreciated. Good buddy, good friend of mine, Joe McMiniman, got Bronze Star. He retired as a brigadier. His last duty station, I believe, was commander of Paris Island.
Oh, wow.
But all the lieutenants were tight as a group. But we got up and we moved a little closer. We're going down the beach around this overhang and outcropping, whatever, and all of a sudden we see a log bunker. And I said to the guys, all right, we're going to take this bunker. I'll go first, dumb second lieutenant. and I'll throw a grenade, and as soon as I throw the grenade, everybody rush up and charge through, and we'll get this bunker. That was my plan. So I got up. We crawled along as close as we can get. I got up through the grenade, threw it right in there. It was open. It wasn't like little gun slits. And grenade went off, and everybody charged right through. None of these guys had any combat experience whatever. Everybody performed magnificently that way.
Wow. Just falling back on their training at that point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of medals were awarded that day. Anyway, we got to the bunker. Inside were 3 enemy KIA and a 90 millimeter anti-tank gun, recoilless rifle. U.S. Army on it, big sight, but it had a bunch of rounds there with Chinese writing on it. And that anti-tank assault weapon would have been, if you tried landing on the beach or with any little boats, they would tore the shit out of that. But that identifies the type of weaponry they had on this island. So we captured the bunker, and then a few minutes later, the battalion commander, Colonel Austin, passes through, and Dan, you're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Hey, it's always a good time to get a compliment from the battalion commander, that, especially in a moment like that, you know? Yeah.
So they passed through, moved south, went back to the perimeter we had, and then we had a little parade going back down the island. We packed up the 90 millimeter, and a big tripod and a big gun, and we had 3 or 4 guys carrying the weapon, and 2 or 3 guys carrying the tripod. I captured a radio. I kept that with me. I had my own radio again then. And, I forgot to say, it was at 12:30, exactly the same time I captured the bunker and that the battalion command element came through when the second wave came in.
Okay.
Second wave was going to be Echo Company. And the original plan was for Echo Company and half of Hotel Company on these 9 helicopters.
Okay.
But they only had 3 helicopters left.
Oh my God.
So they couldn't even they brought half of Echo Company. And some of the guys from Echo Company passed through and came through and helped carry back the 90 millimeter anti-tank gun. And so we also had a KIA, Lance Corporal Looney, who was from Trinidad. He had been killed, and I had some guys, they said they knew where his body was, so I let them go get him, and they brought him back to me. I got his dog tags, and then we had a little parade going down the beach. The 90 millimeter anti-tank gun. I know it was a 90 millimeter because we were used to 106s at that time.
Right. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, before we left, we had an engineer platoon commander that put a thermite grenade down the barrel, and it was fun watching it melt. Wow. So the enemy couldn't use it. But funny thing about the sight on that weapon, the Lieutenant McMiniman with the 81s, the sight on the weapon was newer and better than he was using on his 81s at the time. So he kept the extra sight.
Wow.
Funny thing.
I mean, adapt and overcome at that point.
Yeah. Another thing was in that bunker was 300-pound bags. I'm going on and on. You're okay?
No, we're great. No, this is fantastic.
Was 300-pound bags of, and I'll never forget this, U.S. number 5 milled Louisiana rice with a Cito, which was like NATO at the time. They had a blue writing and 2 hands shaking. So some nice rice growers in Louisiana had provided all the food for these communists that are killing America. I had my guys cut the bags open and try and pee on it so they couldn't use it, but everybody was so dry at 100 degrees that we just shoveled a bunch of dirt into it. Anyway, we went back down the beach with Looney's body and the 106, the 90 millimeter. We went back into the perimeter. And at that point, we had 127 Marines, not all effective. As I said, several were wounded, but we had everybody except for the 25 still on East Beach in that position. At the same time, we learned that the crew of the Mayaguez had never been on the island at all. They had been taken to a Thai fishing boat, and as soon as the operation started in the morning, and there were F-4s going into the Phnom Penh Air Base on the mainland, as soon as that started, they said, "Hey, we don't want any of this."
Yeah.
So they sent the crew back. The Holt had pulled up alongside of the Wilson and actually had Marines over the side with the 2 ships right next to it. The first time since 1836, I was told that command had been given.
Wow.
And they went aboard the ship with gas masks on, and there was nobody left on the ship. But they had 5 guys from The merchant marines were attached to them, and they tried to. They did start up the engines and tried to get it underway, but it was towed out of the way initially with the Holt. Great ship, great people. So the crew's rescued, the ship is okay, and now you have all these Marines on this little island. Well, we didn't come to, raise the flag. We're not conquering this island and going to, make a new city. They had to figure out how they're going to get us off the island. And the problem was, as they would bring the total number of Marines down, they didn't want to leave the last 30, 40 there overnight, get run over, et cetera. So getting us out of there, the decision was made, it had to be all in on this, to do it all. So the afternoon is going by, we're still taking occasional fire. I'm standing with the battalion commander, and at 12:30 with Echo Company, the company commander, Captain Davis, came back. He came in with Echo Company at 12:30.
And you're still at this point on the beach.
Oh, well, not on the beach. We're on elephant grass. I would say we were about, I've never had to figure this, a couple hundred yards wide and a couple hundred yards deep. Again, with the water to our back. So I was standing with the battalion commander and the company commander. We'd gone through the lines and adjusted machine guns and that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, this C-130 plane is flying over, and they push a pallet out of the back on parachute. And we figure it's our water resupply. Finally, thank God, but it's where the enemy is at, not where we're at, far away from us. And we're watching the parachute come down, and the pallet broke off, and then the huge, largest, heaviest explosion that I'd ever seen or heard happened. Almost knocked me down, had a piece of shrapnel land right by her foot. It was a BLU-82 Daisy cutter that they dropped, unbeknownst to us.
Whoa.
It was in Vietnam, they used it to actually clear a landing zone. They dropped the bomb and it would literally flatten the trees. And there was a place where you could land a helicopter where you couldn't before. Never did find out who authorized that, but they dropped the BLU-82. And until they thing with the mother of all bombs with Saddam, that was the largest non-nuclear weapon ever deployed.
Wow.
So that was another interesting little thing. So then they're trying to figure out how they're going to get out of here. All day long, the Coral Sea is steaming to us at flank speed, and they decided they were going to have the helicopters go to the Coral Sea instead of the 2.5-hour trip back to Thailand, 127 miles. Again, how do you do an operation like that? So about 4:30, the first two came in and they decided Echo Company would the last ones in would be the first ones out. And by this time, the tide had changed and there was no flat beach to land the helicopters on. So the guys are wading in waist deep, as much as waist deep, ankle deep, knee deep, waist deep, and they just rushed the helicopter and loaded it up with like 37 Marines. Max capacity, safe load for combat is 25. So the helicopter is tremendously overloaded, and they're all in the back of the helicopter, not in the front. So he tries taking off, and they had to throw guys in the front, but they finally got out of there. With the first one and the second one came in, another 30 some, I don't remember the number, but they got most of Echo Company. They got all of Echo Company out at that time. Echo Company commander, this is important, tells the Golf Company commander, I have all of my guys. Very important for later. So takes them half an hour, 45 minutes to go to the Coral Sea. Helicopters are shot up, all kind of damage. One of them had a busted fuel line.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know what kind of technicians, whatever on the Navy ship, they patched it with clear rubber tubing. 2 clamps and a clear hose for the fuel line. I'm sure some safety officer would have had a fit, but they got it back in the air and it flew, and that was used in the operation that afternoon. Wow. In that same time frame, the bad guys knew that we weren't messing around, and by 1 o'clock we actually had an OV-10 Bronco finally come in, and they were controlling the helicopters and the naval gunfire off the Holt, and they knocked out a couple of big machine gun positions, and then they were able to land a helicopter in on East Beach and get Lieutenant Mike Cicery and 3rd Platoon, 20 guys and 5 Air Force crew. Like I said, several of who were wounded. They got them out of East Beach. And once they were out, we were all just left on the West Beach to get extracted.
And then how many at this point are still there?
We're down to, I got to figure that out. I don't know.
Are we talking
50,
like a company?
Maybe 50, 60, not even 60.
Oh, wow.
About 50.
Okay.
And it's starting to get dark.
Yeah.
And we're pulling back our lines. The guys have dug in great positions. Sandy, easy to dig in, but hot as hell. And as we made our perimeter smaller, the enemy, of course, just moved right into the great positions our guys had dug in. And every time a helicopter came in, blast the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how those guys got out of there without being damaged, but they did. Got the helicopters. It was getting dark. The first one came in, and we got a portion of our company out. And then the battalion commander says, Dan, you go on this next one. So I got on it. It was a helicopter piloted by a First Lieutenant Air Force guy, Bob Blau, out of Tennessee. And he landed in the water. I'm waist deep, and guys getting shot at literally as they're climbing up the ramp. But he took off with 37 Marines. And we sat down on the helicopter. I was at the ass end looking out the ramp, and I can see the tracer rounds coming at us in the dark, both the red American tracer rounds from their captured weapons and green tracer rounds, which was the Soviet weapons, and I'd never seen green tracers before. So I said, hey, this looks like Christmas. Anyway, we got up, we got out, we're patting each other in the back, we made it, we're out of there, everything's going to be great. And we settle in for what we assume is like a 20-minute helicopter ride to the Coral Sea.
Right.
However, we've gone just a little bit of a ways, and the pilot has got the helicopter pitch dark, and it starts shaking and moving, and I'm vibrating, and it's going down, and I can see the water a little bit of the waves, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going in the water. What are we going to do? So I start telling the guys, take your helmets off. We're going to jump, et cetera. You can't hear anything anyway. What he's
right.
But they started pushing us up towards the front. There's a exit door behind the co-pilot's seat, and I jumped out expecting to land in the water, and instead I land on the deck of a Navy ship, and I knew right away it wasn't the Coral Sea.
Yeah.
It was the USS Harold D. Holt, destroyer escort, later changed to fast frigate, and the landing pad on this helicopter, the helicopter landing pad on this little ship is so small that the pilot couldn't get his helicopter in there. What he had to do, and this is amazing, he had to inch his helicopter in on a 45-degree angle. The ship is going this way, and he puts the nose up here.
Yeah.
One wheel on this, and I'm on the ass end looking out, and all I can see is water. I can't see the ship at all.
Oh my gosh.
The ship was underway in the dark, but he had to put 50% power on his wheels. He was too heavy, he couldn't land on it. So he's flying the ship forward on a 45-degree angle in the dark. And the ship's doing this.
Wow.
And the helicopter, most amazing feat of flying I've ever seen.
I've got to say, I know nothing about flying a helicopter, but just to be able to fly a helicopter, I think is impressive.
Absolutely.
And then to be able to do it in that environment, dark, probably just using his controllers.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
But flying it forward on a 45-degree angle in a combat zone, in the dark, was just amazing. And then as soon as he dropped us off, he went back in and got another load. But he said he wasn't crazy enough to try to land that on the Holt again. So he took them to the Coral Sea. And then there was one helicopter remaining. And they waited and they waited and they looked and they looked. They wanted to make sure they had everybody. And there were 29 left. And they got the last helicopter out of there. And it went to the Coral Sea. And we thought that was the end of it. They took attendants, is not the right word, but to try and figure out who's who, what's where. And we had guys that had been wounded, had been taken back to Thailand. We had guys that had gone to the Coral Sea, gone to the Wilson, and to the Holt, but they were missing.
You had people scattered all over.
They were missing 3 members of Echo Company, who had said that he had all these guys, machine gun team. Their names were Marshall, Hargrove, and Hall, and they apparently were left behind on the island.
Whoa.
Yes. We were told at the time they had to be killed, they had to be dead. They wouldn't have, they would have gone to the helicopter with the last call, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And none of that ever happened. Learned years later that they were actually, albeit not necessarily the greatest sources, that they were captured, tortured, and killed by the Khmer Rouge. So you talk about leaving your men behind. It wasn't our company. We wouldn't. If they had been my company, my platoon, I'd have, crawled all over the island. So we're aboard ship, and they're deciding we're going to go in. We're going to go back in and get them. We got to go get them.
Oh wow!
But then on the Coral Sea, where most of Echo Company and Golf Company had gone, the safety officer said, "We can't have all these Marines running around here with all this ammo, and hand grenades. I'm going to turn all this stuff in." They threw it overboard.
Oh my God!
Hard to launch another assault without any ammo.
So they literally took what you had and just threw it overboard.
They didn't want to mess with it, is what I was told. Safety. You can't have a bunch of Marines with loaded weapons charging all over your ship.
Right.
I mean, I can understand it a little bit, but so we would have done anything to go back in. I was actually on the bridge of the Holt with the captain, and we're talking about a Navy SEAL team going back in. And they wanted the Lieutenant JG with the SEAL team to go in unarmed under a white flag. And he was not thrilled about doing that at all.
Yeah.
Because these guys have been blasting the shit out of us all over the place. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I had some scuba. I'd done a lot of civilian scuba, but I wasn't military qualified. But I said I knew. The other problem was Looney's body, the body of the guy that we had carried his body down the beach. It was left there laying on the beach. At 3-4 o'clock, I was told we got it covered. He'll go out on the next helicopter, and he was wrapped in my poncho. I never worried about it again. But come to find out, his body was left on the beach, and they wanted to know where he was, and I knew where it was, and I volunteered all that. But they weren't going back in. Ford wouldn't let them go back in. We already had. There was another helicopter of Air Force Rescue Police. It would have been the first ones on the island. They had been launched from Utapao, and that helicopter had crashed.
Oh, wow.
And they had 18 Air Force crew, 18 Air Force military policemen and a crew of 5.
Wow.
So that was 23 KIA right there. The last 41 names on the wall of Vietnam Veterans Memorial are from the Mayaguez operation.
Wow.
Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force, and the last 41 names all together.
Wow. So if I'm looking at the wall, it'd be
big apex in the middle, the very last on the right on the bottom, 1975.
Okay.
It starts, I think, at 57 and goes that way.
Right.
And goes all the way around, comes in, and very apex. We were just there in May with a 50th anniversary reunion, and we placed wreaths, and we always put a challenge coin and a couple other little things we do at the wall. But it's very moving. You go in there, and the crowd just splits for you.
Yeah.
We had our vests and hats on, and very emotional when you see all those names. Guys you knew and served with.
Oh yeah. So in all, when you're looking at this whole mission, what's the time length total?
Amazing. From the moment they raised the red flag and said 2-9 in Okinawa, you're going, until the last helicopter left on left Koh Tang was less than 48 hours. They call it the 48-hour war.
Wow. That's a lot to go down in 48 hours. Oh my God! So, what is the total number of wounded?
There were about 60 wounded. Okay. Air Force gave out 3 Air Force crosses. The Marine Corps gave out one Navy cross, about 10, 12 Silver Stars, about 20 Bronze Stars.
Wow.
Navy Comms and Navy Achievements. The helicopter crews got Distinguished Flying Crosses, and
No kidding.
Bob Blau, who flew us, got a Silver Star. There was a lot of decorations, but there was a lot of stuff going on. And some people were complaining, you can't give out this many medals, that's too many. But when you look at what the people actually did, like I say, these kids didn't know what they were doing. They were, one of our guys had just turned 18. You had to be 18. We left some 17-year-olds back on at Camp Schwab. He was 3 days past his 18th birthday, and there he was in combat.
Wow.
He got a Purple Heart. Fred Morris is his name, out of Iowa.
Okay.
So then we got everybody back, and we thought, we're the only combat tested unit in the entire American military.
Yeah.
But then we had to finish our training in Okinawa, so we'd be eligible to make the Westpac float. They wouldn't have let us take the Westpac float till we finished the training, even though we were combat tested.
Wow.
Yeah.
That kind of doesn't make any sense. I wonder why they did that.
I don't know. That's
Protocol,
what it was.
Maybe, I guess.
That's the way it was. So then my personal situation. We finished out our 13 months. We went to Korea. We went to the Philippines. It was a good float. I went back to Lejeune. It was with 2-6, and then I had 5 years active duty.
Okay.
I was reserve officer and got a Bronze Star and Combat Action Ribbon, and wanted to stay in, but that's when Carter was cutting everything back. You couldn't buy a commission with.
You got the Bronze Star in that battle.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got out, went home. Everybody went back to their families, and nobody talked about anything about the military at all in the late 70s and early 80s.
Right.
The environment was very much anti-military, and you might have a Marine Corps bumper sticker on your car, but you weren't even wearing Marine Corps shirts and hats. I did, but most, a lot of guys didn't. Nobody wanted to talk about it. So then I got involved in 2003 with Larry Barnett out of Ohio, who had been on the East Beach. He was starting a website for the Kotang Mayaguez Veterans Organizations.
Oh, wow.
Originally called the Kotang Beach Club. And we got together, him and I, and we talked, and we actually went to a reunion with the Jolly Green Giants, who was the organization for the HH-53 pilots.
Okay.
They had their reunion every year in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and we got permission to come and attend one of their reunions. And we did this for about 5 years. We latched on to have our reunion with theirs, and at one point we were getting 25, 30 guys on there before we started.
Kidding.
Well, the organization got larger and larger with more people coming in.
Yeah.
But at the Jolly Green's big banquet, where they're giving out all their awards, I had talked to their president, and I'm going to get emotional here.
It's okay.
They brought me and Larry up there, and I gave him a brief story, rundown of the Mayaguez operation and how great the pilots were and how we owed them all our lives and this and that. Come to find out, these guys had search and rescue that have saved, hundreds of lives, with all kind of medals and decorations you can't believe, but very rarely were they ever actually thanked by the people that they had rescued.
Oh, wow.
So when I was talking about my PTSD, I was talking about how I would lay in bed and look at the ceiling and wish that I could thank the pilot that got us off that island, and started out buying him a beer, and then over the years it became a full bottle of Crown Royal that we would share. So anyway, I got to meet Bob Blau, and we sat at the table together, and then I went up and I made this speech, and I turned it into thanking all of those search and rescue guys on behalf of all of the other guys staring at the ceiling that couldn't thank them. And then I had a plaque made for Bob Blau, and he told his story about flying in the dark, 50% on wheels, and brought him up, and we gave him this plaque, and thank you for saving our life. Very emotional, one of the highlights of my life, and we've been good friends since.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was pretty special.
Huh.
I got it. PTSD, finishing this up now.
Yeah.
About 2005, the first book on the Kotang Maguas operation came out.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, nobody had ever heard of it or knew what we were talking about. It was,
now, was it your book?
No.
Did you author it? Okay.
No, I didn't. This is a book by Joe Gilmartin out of Ohio. He was a 53 pilot. Anyway, that was the first one that talked about how Marshall, Hargrove, and Hall had been left behind and the situation with that. And that started me on my downward trend with PTSD. And it got worse, and it got worse. And I finally went to the VA and got 20%, then 30%, then 50%. You know how it goes. And checked myself in. Good doctors, good therapy. And then I also had the little Papillon PTSD therapy dogs. You saw me carrying one around before. That helped me quite a bit. But we got, I became an advocate for helping individuals with PTSD and helping them get their VA benefits, services officer through the Marine Corps League or whatever.
So, are you currently a veteran service officer?
By actions, not by position anymore. I was for years, but I'm kind of the go-to guy now. But I'm on the phone a couple hours a week talking to somebody, helping somebody with something.
But through the years of you spent doing it, I mean, you obviously know the ropes and know how to help people out. So
in 2012, the American Legion's National Convention in Indianapolis, I was the keynote speaker, and I gave a half-hour speech on what I'm telling you and PTSD and all that related. And President Obama was supposed to come and speak to the American Legion, but he canceled at the last minute, figuring he didn't need the American Legion's vote. But I was there to speak just before him. And gave the speech to about 5,000 people. It was another one of the most amazing experiences of my life. But
I guess there's nothing like being in front of 5,000 people and them sitting there listening to your story.
Very rewarding, very beneficial for recovery with the PTSD and all that. Yes, sir. But as I said, right now I'm still an advocate helping people with PTSD.
Now, for the individuals with PTSD, do you find that individuals that talk about it and kind of discuss with other veterans, do you find that it's
some
better
will talk,
for them?
Some will talk, some don't want to talk, some don't know that they need to talk.
Right.
You learn how to pick what you need out of people, but hell, I had 10 fingers and 10 toes. I thought I was fine. I didn't have any problems. I didn't need any help. There's guys way worse off than me, so I don't need VA benefits. But once I was able to get the VA benefits, I was able to travel more with the league and with the Kotang Maguas Veterans Organization. And help with that. We had almost 100 people this past May in DC, yes, for 50th anniversary, and I got to lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns. That was very special as well. So I really putting a lot into this.
Wow, that's incredible. A very unique story. Not everybody has a story like that for sure, but incredible valor. Not just your men, but you too. And just, I don't know, it's an incredible story. It's something that it definitely needs to be heard by people. And I'm thankful that you came and shared.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to participate.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right.
To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA has some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. any of those officers will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. Lieutenant Dan cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Lieutenant Dan, one last time, thanks. I truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated.
Hoorah.
Change your socks. Hoorah. Oh, let me try that again. And that's
Government said they make a man.